Hey guys, it is Medico Taste back again with another video for guys. Now I'm here with another life story. Now I'm adding on a fourth fight to this video because I actually saw another fight about 2 weeks ago, and so I thought I would add it into this video. This is perfect timing. Now let's get on with the video. Now the first fight happened at a New Year's party that I went to, which was my entire grade was invited. So only about maybe I think half the grade went, which is about maybe 45 people because we only have about 70 people in our grade. So it's about 40 people, and I was having fun. I was hanging out with my friends, just doing normal party things. Now I don't know if these two kids were fighting or not, but they basically were putting their hands on each other and pushing each other on the elbows and kind of walking around, kind of doing that. And then all these kids are just screaming fight, 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 and me, I'm just like, okay, I gotta do something. So I walk in and I push these two away, and these other kids, they start grabbing them and restraining them. And now the kids, these two, they were going at each other. I think one of them was laughing and I think the other was pretty mad. So I did ask them, one of them, my friend, if there was a motive, and he didn't give an answer. So he was kind of the one that was being pretty mad about it. So one of my friends, he accidentally bumped into one of the kids who was fighting, and then he walked out of the party room. I followed him to go talk to him, and we were just in this hallway, and there's just a couple tables, a computer, and like 4 chairs. Me and him were just sitting there talking. Now this hallway is a dead end, and this will make sense in a second. After about maybe 30 seconds of me and him talking, I'm not even joking, this is the part where it becomes a crazy fight, almost crazy fight. These kids, I'm not even joking, about 10 kids swarm out of the party room and into this hallway. Now the way it works is like the party room is like the main room, and then there's like 2 hallways that go around it. So basically they went out of the room, had to go down a hallway, then turn another left, and then there's a small hallway which basically where the computer and desk and chairs were. We were cornered by these kids. Like, they surrounded my friend and he's just sitting there just looking all surprised, and basically the kid who he bumped into basically had this look of, I'm gonna kick your ass. So basically I put my arm in between them and say, you're not gonna fight, you're not gonna fight, you're not gonna fight. So finally, after about maybe 30 seconds of yelling at this kid and me and him kind of exchanging glances and stuff, they finally backed off. And by the time they backed off, it was a crowd of probably maybe 30 people. I'm not even joking, about maybe 30 people had crowded out to see what was going on. And then I turned to my friend, I'm like, bro, that was a close one. And then he says to me, I deserved it. And I said to him, boy, you did not deserve it. Just because you accidentally bumped in him does not mean you deserve to get your ass beat. Now this next story takes place at my old school that I went to, that one elementary school that I hated so much. And this was actually in 3rd grade. I talk about 4th grade a lot, and I've done stories on 4th and 2nd grade in that school, but I've never done 3rd grade before. Now I went to that school 2nd through 4th grade, and then transferred to the school that I'm going to now, which is a K-8 system, and it kindergarten through 8th grade, so I can go through my entire middle school year to this school. And I started out through 5th grade to the grade I'm in right now. So basically, when I was still at the school, I think I was probably 9 years old. So I was walking around at recess. I was literally doing nothing. I was with none of my friends. I think a lot of them were doing other things. A lot of times, since I was bullied a lot and I didn't have a lot of friends. Now in 3rd grade, I actually had more friends than I had in 2nd and 4th grade, because it was actually a lot better year, and it was actually a pretty good year, and there were a few bad instances, but overall it was actually a pretty good year. I felt okay about the school then, but then once I got into 4th grade, I'm like, this is a pretty bad school, I should switch next year, which is what I did. And so, as I said, I was walking around and I see this crowd of kids and they are just screaming fight, fight, fight. So they're fighting in a circle. They were going really hard. They were throwing a lot of punches. They were really fighting. Honestly, I think those kids probably thought they were in the WWE, because back then at that school, WWE and Beyblades was really popular. Does anyone remember Beyblades? If you do, you are a true OG. I'm just kidding. But they were really popular back a long time ago, 2012, 2013. I remember kids would bring Beyblades to school and they'd have these huge battles. So finally, someone actually did something, and I was too scared to intervene, because these were probably 4th graders, I think. So probably if I went and there's just like some little third grader just comes in, tries to stop a fight. No, I'm not gonna do that. I just stood at a distance and watched. Now my teacher, my third grade teacher, was actually the vice principal, so he comes over and he's just screaming at these kids. They're like, stop it, stop it, stop it, and dispersed in like so many different directions. They just booked it. Like almost all the kids except for the two kids fighting. I mean, the looks on their faces, I mean, I was probably about maybe like 100 feet away, but from what I could tell, they're like, crap, we're doomed. Now this next story takes place in 4th grade, and I've said before, 4th grade was probably the worst year ever for me. Now, does anyone remember back to my first Domenico Stories video? Remember someone brought firecrackers to school, like that video? That kid TJ is one of the kids in this, and a new kid who was also a big bully to me. I'm gonna call him Cameron. Now, we were in the hallway and we were standing ready to go in the classroom. So what happened was Cameron actually pushed TJ, and TJ, he got really mad. So basically, and I think I mentioned, I don't know if I didn't mention in the video before, but TJ was pretty short. Like Cameron was, you know, an average 4th grader. He's pretty tall, but now TJ is like half his height, but he worked out. Like he was like, for a 4th grader, he was really buff. He wasn't like bulging muscles. So this kid, he goes from just normal, you know, meh, to just psycho. So basically what he did was he took his arm and wrapped it around Cameron's head, and TJ pulls his head down and takes his other hand and just starts beating it on the back of his neck. And they are just beating and beating and beating and beating his head and his neck. And this kid, he just starts like, I guess he wasn't really screaming, but he kind of was like going, ah, like he was like kind of starting to cry. The back of the neck is where the brainstem is, and if you actually hit that hard enough, you can actually kill someone. Now, I'm not gonna say he actually wanted to kill him, but if you hit it hard enough, you could actually paralyze someone or kill them. But probably this kid wouldn't be able to do that, but I'm just saying that is possible because that is the brainstem, and that is like connects to the spine, and which controls your body, and it's kind of the base of your nervous system. So of course it's really painful for him, and he finally was able to break free. Now me and these two other girls, basically, this was actually the first time that I had intervened in a fight, and then I intervened with two other fights, like I said at the beginning of the video, about 2 weeks ago. So I was able to pull this kid back, and these other two girls basically grasp him, and I kind of stand in front of him, kind of holding his arms, and he's like screaming at him, let me the fuck go, let me beat his ass, let me go, you bitch. And I'm serious, like he said those words. Now both of them actually got suspended. Now Cameron got suspended, I think, for a day because he did provoke TJ, and TJ got like 3 days or something. Even though he was a huge jerk to me and he was really mean to me, he didn't deserve to be brutally attacked like that. I guess it wasn't that brutal, but to me it's pretty intense. So the last and final story took place actually outside my house, and now this took place maybe around 3rd or 4th grade. Like these past 3 stories have taken around the same time period, around this couple years of when I was in 3rd and 4th grade. Now I was with one of my friends. Now if you're watching this, you probably know who you are. Now I was sitting with him and his mom on my couch. Now I've said before that across the street there's been a lot of instances of, I guess, like people breakups, and this one guy, he gets in a fight almost every few months. Now I don't see them all the time, but this is the one that I can remember in detail, and my dad has seen more of them. One time he threw his girlfriend's stuff on the snow, like in January or something. Like he just took her stuff and just chucked out the door. Now this guy, he was going through a bad relationship, so I was just sitting on the couch. Now I glance out the window across the street, and this guy, he's just laying on the ground, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So I tap my friend, I'm like, yo, look at this. And then I turn back, and then basically I'm talking to my mom for about a minute, and then I look back and he's standing up, and I see this car coming down the street and pull into his driveway. Now I thought, okay, what's gonna happen? So me, my friend, and my mom and his mom, we all watch. All 4 of us are just sitting on the couch looking out the window. This woman, who is probably his girlfriend, gets out of the car and basically starts yelling at him. Now I can't hear what they're saying, the way, like her body language and the way she was moving, I could tell that they're yelling at each other. She slapped him and got into her car. She just floored it. Now there was a speed bump on the street, so she didn't really get much air, but she did get a little air. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a bit bit longer because I did add another story into it, and I kind of did go more in detail with these fights. So make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you on my next video.